Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I do my complexion. A little tips on how to choose your foundation, your bronzer, what I currently like to use. So if you guys are interested in wanting to see how I did my complexion today and you want to learn how to do your complexion, then just keep on watching. So start off, I went ahead and did my skincare already. So if you have a certain skincare regimen you like to go in before you do your complexion, or if you don't even go in with the skincare routine at all, maybe just some primer or something, that's totally okay. And then in order to see what color foundation you are, I always recommend to get the foundation you're wanting to use, and you want to always match it with your neck. So I always swatch right here on my neck and make sure it's blended out really well. Some foundations do tend to oxidize, which means that they tend to get a little darker than what they look in the bottle. So you always want to look out for that. Right now I know during COVID we can't really swatch anything on the face. I know at Sephora and Ulta you can't do that. They have a virtual try-on on their app, so you can definitely get a good visual of what color they think you are and then compare it in the store. Today I'm going to be using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. This is in the shade medium 80W. This one is a pretty good match for me. It doesn't oxidize. I know their other foundation does oxidize pretty weird but I'm going to go in with this foundation. Now to blend it out, you can definitely go in with a brush, a foundation brush, or you can go in with a sponge or a damp sponge. It really just depends on how you like it. I prefer going in with both, but if I had to choose, I definitely would stick with a sponge. And now I'm going to go in with concealer. And then whenever you get your concealer, you always want to get a concealer that's about a shade lighter or two than your foundation. So I'm going to go in with the Benefit Cakeless Concealer. This is in the shade number 5. I'm going to place that underneath my eye. And then I'm going to go a little bit on the forehead and then on the chin, just so we can even out the face. Then I'm going to take the Beauty Blender and blend that out. So once we have our concealer down, now it's time to set the under eye. So what I like to go in is with a translucent setting powder. You can go in with a pressed powder, but I preferably like to go in with the loose powder. My favorite one is the Mercier translucent powder. This is amazing if you want something with no flashback, a smooth perfection underneath the eye. And I'm currently trying out the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Matte Loose Powder. I'm trying this one out. So far I like it. It's really nice on the under eye. A good drugstore loose powder, I have to say, is Wet n Wild is really good. Also, the Maybelline Fit Me is a really good option. There's a ton of loose powder in here, so you are definitely going to have this for a good while. I'm going to go in with the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Loose Powder. I was going to say primer. I actually found this over at TJ Maxx, and I was just like surprised because why is Milk Makeup at TJ Maxx, you know? Once I have that set, I'm going to go in with a pressed powder. And this one is it's from Milani. It is their Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder. I got the shade Natural Light. It looks like this. I usually like to go in with a pressed powder all over my face just because I feel like the pressed powder stays on a little longer than a loose powder. It's different underneath the eye than all over the face. Sometimes I will go in with the loose powder all over my face, but I really like using a pressed powder. Alright, so once we have our pressed powder and our loose powder underneath the eyes done, now it's time to go in with bronzer. Now you don't have to go in with bronzer after this step. You can definitely just, you know, pop on some blush and a little bit of highlight and you're done. but I know I like to bronze up my face a little bit just so I can bring a little bit of color back into my face. For bronzer, I have quite a few bronzers, so if you have no idea what color you are or what color to get, I would probably recommend getting the Physicians Formula. I would probably recommend getting the Physicians Formula. Oh my gosh, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This one is in the shade 6676. It's not too dark or too light. It's like a perfect color. So if you have no idea what color you are, I think this one would be great. It smells so good. So I'm gonna go in with the bronzer. I'm actually gonna go in with my Marc Jacobs bronzer because I just got this one and I'm still trying it out with different foundations. I'm gonna go ahead and bronze just up here. So I don't know if you've seen around, I know a lot of people like to do what's called baking. They bake down here or they bake right here. I don't really like to bake. I just like to do a really soft bake, I guess you could say. So what I like to do is I like to take my loose powder and I'll take the same brush I used for underneath my eye and I'll just take a little bit of this and I will kind of sweep this underneath my bronzer to basically kind of clean it up a little bit, but not make it too precise. Very, very gentle, like a quick little cleanup basically. So next we're gonna go in with some blush. Now same thing with blush, it really just depends on how you like your blush. I have been really loving like a peachy kind of color. I really love the Milani Luminoso blush. This one is so pretty. There's also different kinds of blushes as well, like you have liquid blush, cream blush, you have blush with a little bit of some glitter inside, or you just have your regular matte blush. I have pretty much everything. I want to get that glowy look going. I'm going to go in with my Luminoso blush from Milani. I like to take an angled brush like this and pack that on, and I'm gonna place it right here. I don't want to put it right on my cheekbone, which you can do it on your cheekbone, but I'm gonna place it up here. I've been doing this little trick for a while now because I've been seeing people put their blush up here, so I'm trying that out to see. I kind of just place it here and then I drag it down a little bit. I'm not gonna focus my blush here as much. So once I have my blush on, next is gonna be highlighters. A lot of different colors for highlight. You don't really have to do highlight, especially since this blush has a little bit of some sparkle in there. You can just leave it like that. Sometimes I do if I don't want to, you know, go all out with my face. There's times where I like to go all out and I like to put on highlight. So my favorite one right now is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlight. It's a really pretty gold highlight. Fun fact, I never used to like gold highlighters. I was always true to the Wet n Wild Precious Petals highlight, which still is such a pretty color, but I decided to get this a few years ago actually. It's been years since I've had this and I still haven't hit pan, which is surprising because I use this pretty much all the time. I like to go in with this one. I do have a few other highlighters that I have, but this one is really my go-to highlighter. It is such a pretty highlight, and what sucks is that this was a one-time kind of thing. They did bring it back a few years ago, but that was just during the holidays. Look at that shine, oh my goodness. If you put highlight on, you want to put it on the cheekbone, like just basically above the blush. So I'm gonna just bring it here and then kind of go in my temple to kind of create like a little C here. And then I'll take a little bit and put some on my nose and then on the bridge of my nose. And sometimes I'll go a little bit on the forehead here just to bring some little highlight there. Pretty. Okay, we are done with the complexion. Now it's time to set the face. So I have quite a few setting sprays, but the one that I have been loving for a while is going to be the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Setting Spray. This stuff is amazing if you have dry skin. This works amazing and it keeps your skin like a dewy finish. So I like to go all in. And then whenever I put my setting spray on, I like to take my sponge and just kind of press all that in to make sure it is in place.